Maybe today was a long one. I mean, the kind that just drains every last drop from you. You smiled when you were supposed to. You showed up. You did the thing. But now the lights are off, the noise has faded, and it's just you and the ceiling. And that weight on your chest. Still there. It didn't check out when you clocked out. It followed you right into this room, crawled into bed with you, and now it's just sitting there. And here's the thing nobody talks about at Sunday service: you can be faithful and still feel forgotten. You can trust God with your whole heart and still wonder why the silence is so loud tonight. You can believe He's good and still ache when the answer doesn't come. So let's just name that. Let's not pretend it's not real. What you're looking at right now, the closed door, the unanswered prayer, the situation that hasn't budged, that is not the final measure of God's faithfulness. I know it feels like it is. I know the enemy whispers that exact lie: see, He's not coming through. You've been left on read by the Almighty. But a closed door doesn't mean God lost the key. And a delayed answer doesn't mean your prayers slipped through some cosmic crack in heaven's floorboards. It just doesn't work that way, even when every emotion you own is screaming otherwise. That's what we're going to sit with tonight. The waiting. The ache of it. The holy, frustrating, sanctifying space between the promise and the fulfillment. I've been there. I'm not speaking from some theological ivory tower. I'm talking about the season where I prayed the same prayer so many times I could have set my watch to it. Every morning. Every night. Over and over. And I started building these little mental markers in my head. You know what I'm talking about. I'd tell myself, surely by spring, something will shift. Then spring came, flowers bloomed, and nothing. Okay, Lord, maybe by my birthday. Birthday came, candles got blown out, and the situation? Stone cold still. End of the year, then. That's a solid deadline. And December 31st rolled around, and I stood there staring at the same wall I'd been staring at since January. That kind of waiting does something to you. It doesn't just test your patience, it pulls at the threads of your faith until you're scared to even look at the fabric because you're afraid it's all coming apart. So here we are, in the quiet of this night. Just you and me and the Lord who sees us both. No stage lights. No polished sermon. Just a conversation whispered between a worn-out heart and the God who bends low to listen. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to throw Bible verses at you like band-aids on a wound that needs surgery. I'm just here to sit with you in the waiting room and remind you that you're not the only one who's ever been here. Because here's the first thing I need you to hear, the thing that wrecked me in the best possible way when I finally got it. While I was begging God to change my circumstances, He was busy changing my heart. I didn't see it at the time. I was so locked in on the thing I wanted Him to move that I missed what He was actually doing. He wasn't ignoring the prayer. He was answering a deeper one I didn't even know I was praying. The prayer of a heart that needed to be reshaped. The prayer of a faith that had to be stretched before it could carry the weight of the blessing. There's this verse in the book of Habakkuk. The prophet is basically standing on the watchtower, worn out, confused, asking God the same questions we ask: how long? Why haven't you fixed this? Are you even paying attention? And God's response stops me in my tracks every single time. He says the vision awaits its appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not lie. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Did you catch what God called it? Not when you feel like it's time. Not when the circumstances line up. An appointed time. A set moment. A divine calendar that doesn't sync with your phone's clock but is never, ever wrong. God uses the word appointed time, a specific, preordained moment that has already been marked on heaven's calendar. Do you know what that actually means? It means this waiting isn't random. It's not punishment. It's not neglect. It's not God scrolling past your prayer request while He handles everyone else's emergencies. It's appointed. It's purposeful. It's pregnant with something you can't see yet. And then God drops this word that absolutely wrecks my theological categories. He says, if it seems slow, wait for it. Did you catch that? God Himself, the one who exists outside of time, the one who spoke galaxies into existence with a single breath, He actually acknowledges that from our perspective, it's going to feel slow. He doesn't gaslight us. He doesn't say, what are you talking about? It's not slow. You're just impatient. No. He builds the acknowledgement of our struggle right into the promise itself. If it seems slow. He knows. But here's where it gets wild. Right after that acknowledgement, He doubles down with absolute certainty, it will surely come. It will not delay. Not, might come. Not, probably come if the conditions are right. Surely. And then the kicker, will not delay. And this is where I had to learn a whole new way of seeing time. See, I'm operating on my calendar. My deadlines. My mental markers. Spring. Birthday. End of the year. But God is operating on an appointed time, a kairos moment, not a chronos minute. The delay is only a delay from my vantage point. From heaven's perspective, it's right on schedule. So there I was, in the thick of it, building these mental deadlines like they were gonna hold God accountable. Lord, if by spring nothing changes, and my situation frozen solid. So I adjusted. Okay, maybe spring was too soon. I'll give you till my birthday. Birthday rolled around. And I remember that New Year's Eve so clearly. Everyone counting down. Fireworks. Celebrations. And I'm standing there, fake smile plastered on, while inside I'm screaming, are you even listening? Do you even see me? Have I been talking to the ceiling this whole time? That's the part nobody posts on Instagram. The raw, ugly middle of waiting where your faith feels like a rubber band stretched so far you're just waiting for the snap. The nights where you open your Bible and the words blur together because you're so tired of hoping. The mornings where prayer feels like throwing words into a void and hearing nothing bounce back. I've been there. I've wept there. I've questioned everything I thought I believed while pacing my bedroom at 2 a.m., whispering, sometimes shouting, God, where are you? And somewhere in that wilderness, I stumbled into Psalm 130. Now, this psalmist is in the depths. He's crying out from the pit. And he says something that completely reframed how I understand waiting. He says, my soul waits for the Lord, and in His word I hope. Notice he doesn't say, my mind waits. Because let me tell you, mind waiting is exhausting. Mind waiting is what I was doing, calculating, tracking timelines, building spreadsheets of disappointment, comparing my story to everyone else's highlight reel. Mind waiting is anxiety with a prayer attached. Mind waiting is checking your phone every 5 minutes for a sign. Mind waiting is that frantic energy that says, God, I trust you, but also let me help you out because you seem to be taking too long. But soul waiting? That's a whole different animal. Soul waiting is the deep down, gut-level surrender that says, I don't understand the timeline, but I trust the timer. Soul waiting isn't passive. It's not giving up. It's the most active, courageous thing you'll ever do because it means releasing control when every fiber of your being wants to grab it back. Soul waiting says, my hope isn't in the outcome. My hope is in His word. Not in the answered prayer. Not in the changed circumstance. In the character of the God who made the promise. That's the shift. That's the difference between surviving the waiting and being transformed by it. Isaiah drives this home. He says those who wait for the Lord will renew their strength. They'll mount up with wings like eagles. They'll run and not grow weary. Now, I used to read that and think, great, so waiting gives me superpowers. I'll just wait harder. But that's not it at all. The waiting itself doesn't renew your strength. It's who you're waiting on. It's the connection to the source. It's the daily dependence that waiting forces you into. Because here's what I started to realize: while I was begging God to change my circumstances, He was changing my heart. And I didn't see it at the time. I was so locked in on the one thing I wanted Him to move that I completely missed the renovation project happening inside me. He was pulling up roots of bitterness I didn't even know had grown. He was teaching me trust at a level I'd never needed before. He was building compassion in me for other people in their waiting rooms because now I actually understood their pain instead of just offering them platitudes. And here's the thing that really got me: manna. Remember manna? The bread from heaven in the wilderness? God gave them just enough for one day. Not a week's supply. Not a month's stash. One day's worth. Because He wanted them to come back every morning. Not because He's controlling. Because He's relational. He wanted the daily conversation. The daily dependence. The daily reminder that He is the source. So maybe that's where you are tonight. Maybe you're in the middle of a waiting season that's stretching you past what you thought you could handle. Maybe it's a marriage that's hanging by a thread, and you've been praying for breakthrough for years. Maybe it's the empty nursery, the negative pregnancy tests, the baby showers you force yourself to attend with a smile that's held together by sheer will. Maybe it's a prodigal child you've been praying home for years, and every phone call that doesn't come feels like another door slamming shut. Maybe it's a health diagnosis that flipped your world upside down, and you're waiting on test results, waiting on treatments to work, waiting to feel like yourself again. Maybe it's just the quiet, nagging ache of loneliness, waiting for a spouse, waiting for community, waiting for someone to truly see you. The waiting is not a punishment. It's not a sign that God has forgotten your address. It's not evidence that you did something wrong or didn't have enough faith. The waiting is the classroom. And the teacher is still speaking. God is far more interested in who you're becoming than in simply giving you what you're asking for. That doesn't mean He doesn't care about your pain. It means He cares too much to let you stay the same. If He answered every prayer the moment you whispered it, your faith would never grow roots. You'd never learn trust. You'd never discover that He is enough even when the answer is, not yet. The waiting season isn't wasted time. It's sacred ground. It's where the shallow parts of your faith get dug up and replaced with something deep and unshakable. It's where you stop believing in a God who simply gives you things and start knowing a God who gives you Himself. The story isn't over just because the chapter is long. A story that hasn't ended yet is not a story that's been abandoned. It's a story that's still being written. He's working in the delay. He's doing something in the invisible realm that your visible eyes can't perceive yet. The darkness doesn't cancel the light. It just makes the light more obvious when it finally breaks through. Let's shift from talking about God to talking to God. Let's move from reflection into prayer. Just close your eyes if you can. Take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Father, I come to you tonight with nothing but what I actually have. Not the polished version of my faith. Not the Sunday morning smile. The real me. The tired me. The me who's been waiting longer than I thought I could endure. And I just admit it to you right now, plainly, I am weary. Not just physically tired, though that's true too, but soul weary. Deep down exhausted from holding on to hope when hope feels slippery. I confess that I've had days where I wondered if you were still listening. If you still saw me. If my prayers were just bouncing off the ceiling. I confess the doubt, Lord. I don't hide it from you because you already know it anyway. And I'm done pretending I'm stronger than I am. So I release something to you tonight, Father. I release my timeline. The one I built in my head with all the deadlines and benchmarks and, surely by now, expectations. I've been gripping that timeline so tightly my knuckles are white, and it's exhausted me. I've been trying to be the author of a story I was never meant to write alone. So I open my hands right now, literally, if I can, and I let the timeline fall. I let go of the need to know when. I let go of the need to understand why. I surrender the outcome to you. Not because I've stopped caring, but because I trust that you care more than I ever could. I surrender the need to control how this ends. I surrender the need to manage everyone's perception of me while I wait. I surrender the need to have a tidy explanation for why this is taking so long. I surrender the part of me that wants to manipulate circumstances to speed things up. I surrender the anxiety that comes from feeling like I'm falling behind while everyone else is moving forward. I lay it all down. Every bit of it. It's yours now. I don't want to carry it anymore. And in this place of surrender, Father, I ask for what only you can give. Renew my strength. Not the kind of strength that comes from caffeine or sheer willpower or positive thinking. The strength that comes from you. The kind that mounts up with wings like eagles. The kind that runs and doesn't grow weary. The kind that walks and doesn't faint. I can't manufacture that. I can't talk myself into it. It has to come from you. So I ask for it now. Pour it into the places where I've been running on empty. Fill the gaps where my own resources have run dry. And for tonight, Lord, I ask specifically for peace. Not peace that depends on my circumstances changing. Not peace that's contingent on getting what I want. The peace that surpasses understanding. The peace that stands guard over my heart and my mind in Christ Jesus. The peace that doesn't make logical sense but is absolutely real. Let that peace settle over this room right now. Let it quiet the racing thoughts. Let it calm the anxious what-ifs. Let it be a blanket over my mind. I don't need to figure everything out tonight. I don't need to solve every problem before I sleep. I just need to rest in you. I pray for anyone listening to these words right now who's in their own waiting room. You know their situation, Father. You know the marriage that's struggling. You know the womb that's empty. You know the bank account that's not adding up. You know the diagnosis that's terrifying. You know the loneliness that sits like a weight on their chest. I ask you to meet them there. Not with platitudes. Not with easy answers. With your presence. Wrap them up in it. Let them feel, even for a moment, that they are not alone. That you are with them in the waiting. That you haven't gone anywhere. I pray for their families. For the people who love them but don't know how to help. Give wisdom. Give patience.